Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm checking out the Foxeer Monster V2. Now this is a 16:9 FPV camera. It's going to be my first 16:9 FPV camera, so I'm interested to check it out. So this is the one with the 2.5mm lens. I believe it's also got a on-screen display, and you can see there it takes between 5 and 40 volts, which is good. This is the silver one and it's the IR block, and it's got the scratch me for genuine Foxeer product. Right, let's see what we have in here. We have the camera itself. Weighs 14.4 grams, so not the lightest of cameras. We've got a cover here on the 2.5mm lens, and let's see what else that we have got in here. So just your normal instructions, etc. And is this kind of like a warranty card there, sort of like a just like a business card by the looks of it. What else have we got in here? Oh, it's a separate box, so hopefully the controls for the on-screen display, etc. So we've got a cap over there, which I always lose. I never use those. It's got some mounting screws and also a single mount there. What else have we got in here? So these are the controls for the on-screen display, and it looks like the cables as well. So let's take a look at that. That's interesting. The OSD is built into it there, as it in the on-screen display to change the settings. That just plugs into there. That goes into your camera there, so it should be fairly easy. Just a harness in there, and I think I actually should say what each one of them does there. So yeah, we've got VCC, ground, vid, audio, on-screen display, ground, and then that's a voltage sensor there for the built-in on-screen display. You can see there it says 16:9 widescreen. So let's have a look what we've got at the end of here. So that's a servo pin, so I guess you can either use a servo or cut off that connector there and solder it straight, and that's going to be for your audio and that's going to be for your voltage sensor. And then we've got ground, positive, and then video there as well. Like I say, that should just fit into the back there. It's quite a tight fit, that is. I got it the right way around. Yeah, the pin's got the top, so just very tight fitting. Yeah, that is really tight fit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll sort that out when I stick it on the model. What else have we got? That's everything. I guess that's all you need. There's not a lot when it comes to cameras, etc. So I was thinking, what model am I going to put this on? And I was thinking which one of my models needs an upgrade, and I came to the conclusion that pretty much all of them need an upgrade. So I am going to attempt to fit it to the Eachine Wizard, because I said I'd do an upgrade on it. This model doesn't have an on-screen display, and it's just got a bog standard camera on here, so it needs upgrading. The only thing is I need to check whether the VBAT is connected or not on this model, so let's do that and see how I get on. Okay, so I've taken all of this apart and just look at all of these messy wires. I guess it is a cheap model. So the VBAT is not connected to the flight controller, so if you wanted to add a buzzer, then you're not going to get your voltage telemetry through. So I may pass some wires through the power distribution to the flight controller, and then there is a spot for a buzzer up this end here. And then this is the camera cable. So that looks like it's going into a little regulator here, so I can desolder that. And I'm still trying to figure out whether I'm gonna swap over the VTX with something else, because I struggled with the original one. If you remember, the adapter came off the SMA here and it's soldered directly, so I may stick in a different VTX there, but I think I can still use this same Pico cable there. So the next thing to do is desolder the camera cable from here, and also find a place to join the VBAT up to this and then add a buzzer to it. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. So I just chopped the wire harness that comes with the Foxeer Monster, and then I have soldered in the video, the positive and the ground, and then the VBAT sensor I have stolen from one of the positive ESC pads. Oh, these wires are just all over the place. So that's going in there, and then I've also connected up the VBAT to the flight controller, so that is there, and then I have taken the VBAT off the XT60 wire here, so that is going to send the telemetry to the flight controller, and then I have soldered on one of these buzzers here. Now with these buzzers, the plus side is usually the longer pin, so I've just bent that around and that fits through the holes nicely in this flight controller. So I just really have to put it all back together, and I think I'm gonna switch out the VTX as well, and I'm also gonna use up my X4Rs because I'm gonna be using the XM Pluses, I think, from now on. So I've got a few of these lying around and I'm gonna just stick that in there. So the next thing to do really is just put it all together and see how it goes. Okay, so the controls on this are pretty simple. So we've got this middle button here that takes you into the normal menu that you would expect on any CCD camera, where you can change the color settings in the image, etc. And then if you are not in the menu, a long press of this button up the top here, that will take you into the on-screen display settings, where you can change the name that appears on the on-screen display, and you can then use these to go up and down and select the name, etc. And then if you want to move the position of any of the items on the on-screen display, then this one, if you long press it, then it'll start flashing and you can move whichever one is here. I think that might be the name, and then a long press of the bottom one will move the voltage, and then a long press of this one will move the time. So I found that the default setting was fine, and in fact the only thing that I did was change the name, because I think it's Foxeer out of the box, and I just changed that to Andy RC. Everything else I just left the same. So this is a flight that I did very early in the morning, because it's the only time that it wasn't raining. So the sun is very low on the horizon. It was about 6 AM here, and I'm using the Eachine VRD2 goggles to record this, because it's HD recorder, records in 16:9, and something that was interesting is if you turn diversity off, then the antennas don't switch and then you don't get any dropped frames. So I found that to be better, really, when it came to the DVR, and the reception's pretty good as well. Now, a couple of things. When I put the camera into the Wizard, the camera mount that is part of the Wizard, it moved a little bit. That's why you're seeing a little bit of jello on the screen. So either I need to use the mount that comes with the Foxeer camera, or maybe use a bit of epoxy on those little carbon mounts, because they are loose fitting, and yeah, that's causing a little bit of jello. There's also a little bit of noise coming through from the VTX still as well, and I looked into this, and the Wizard has a power distribution board with a regulator. It's got a 5 volt and a 12 volt. But what I thought was interesting is out of the box, it isn't hooked up to a regulator when it comes to the VTX. However, I did desolder the VTX cables and soldered it to the regulator, and I still got noise, so I think that the regulator on the quadcopter probably isn't very good at filtering out noise, so I think that the solution there would just to be stick a low pass filter on it or another regulator or something like that. But it's not bad at all. As you can see, it's just a little bit of noise coming through from the ESCs. Apart from that, I was very impressed with this camera. In fact, I was really enjoying flying in 16:9, able to take full advantage of those 16:9 visor goggles without the image being stretched and squished and distorted, which is something that really bothers me. So I really liked it for that. I really would like to see this being the future. I don't know if it will be. I didn't notice any problems with latency or anything like that. I couldn't tell anyway, compared to a normal 4x3 camera. So that's just my opinion. And if you look at history, like when it comes to TV and stuff, things started off at 4x3, and then as things went to HD, it progressed to 16:9. So I think that's going to happen eventually. It's just that we are a bit behind, I guess, with the FPV world due to the problems that HD brings, such as latency and things like that. But anyway, that is my review of the Foxeer Monster. I really liked it. I'll put a link in the description if you wish to get one. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.